The unwritten drawings that I'm still doing, I think, they've kind of evolved over a long time, but the ones in the GOMA collection are from my first exhibition of Unwrittens, and they're very different because the very first unwritten drawings, they were extremely featureless. The faces were just kind of almost like very generic mannequin faces, and then I you know, as I've been doing, kind of evolving them backwards and forwards, which is the way the kind of stereotyping of the Aborigine in this country works. You know, at different times, politically and historically and nationalistically and socially, the idea of the Aborigine has kind of improved in the eyes of the kind of national narrative, and then kind of slid into this idea of the Aborigine as this kind of negative thing that is, but mind you, always in deficit, always less than, and sometimes that means less than what is considered Australian, but often also less than what is considered human. And that's the perception, the overarching perception, that or the underpinning perception that we get of the Aborigine in this country. So the first drawings were these featureless faces that were always becoming human, always having to kind of form and shape themselves before being reduced to this nothingness, this idea of a non-people. And the drawings in the GOMA collection, they were the first ones that really kind of started to show features. But the features that you see in those drawings are very generic Western features. And they're also, I think they're also quite tortured, in the sense that they have a kind of sense of suffering. The way you have Christ on the cross images suffering, and so if you look at those drawings now, you'll see that the angle of the faces kind of reference that idea of the, particularly in Catholicism, of this idea of Christ on the cross, and the features of those faces are very kind of generically Western, a universality to them actually, but only in a Western sense. They are essentially portraits of ordinary Aborigines, like me, like you. There's nothing remarkable about them at all. The actual subjects of those portraits, they're meant to be ordinary people, and ordinary Aborigines they are. It's just that the way they appear is how this country sees us, how this country perceives us, whether it's how the country currently perceives us or wants to perceive us. It's how the country either perceives us or desires us to be. And what you see in those drawings too is a sense of universality about the features of the face, but that's born that way because the Aborigine only gains acceptance in the eyes of this country, in the eyes of the national narrative, when we exhibit Western behaviours or Western ideals in the way we present ourselves visually, or in our behaviour, or in the way we speak, and what we do. And that's the only time you gain acceptance. You know, that's the whole point of assimilation. And anything outside of that is uncomfortable.